What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Before we start today, we have a couple of quick pieces of news that we're going to go over just to kind of get out of the way in the beginning, get you guys caught up to date on some smaller topics. So start with the Sky F5. We know it's coming to Steam next week, May 7th. It's actually showing up in the Steam store, so you can buy it there, but they're also going to be including a demo that you can download. Now, this appears to be a partnership between Nice America and Alienware, and to get the demo, if you just want to try it out, you have to sign up for an Alienware Arena account beforehand, and then you will get the demo and can keep the demo till May 21st. It's odd that they have like a time on that, but I guess it's part of their partnership. Otherwise, May 7th, next week, you'll be able to pick it up on Steam. And then, Good Old Games, of course, is bringing back a game that I'm actually pretty happy to see. It's showing up on PC in their marketplace, and it's for the event. Well, May the 4th, the Star Wars Day, right? May the 4th be with you. That's happening, and they're bringing back Pod Racer. Remember that game on Episode 1 Pod Racer? I remember playing that on the Nintendo 64 a lot. They are bringing it back. It's available in their shop. It's $9.99. Now, you do have to play around with some of the resolution and stuff to get it working correctly, but otherwise, it seems to work well from what a lot of the reviews are saying, and $10 for a game like that, which, by the way, is an awesome racing game. I loved that game on the Nintendo 64. It was Pod Racer. You'd race around, like 500 miles per hour and everything, and it was similar to, obviously, what the idea with the movie, except they expanded on that with tons of racetracks, and it was just a good time. I would check that one out, too. It was a lot of fun. But otherwise, guys, we have a ton of stuff to get into today. Got to get back to GameVice. That's right, they're back, and I guess they're trying to be a thorn in Nintendo's side. So we're going to take a look at what's happening, because honestly, what we're seeing here is if GameVice gets their way, it could be pretty bad for Nintendo. So guys, let's get started. So GameVice, do you remember them? They had that lawsuit that they were pushing on Nintendo for detachable controllers. Remember, they had that WikiPad. A lot of people saw these devices that they were using for like the iPhone and everything. They had that WikiPad, and they weren't very good looking systems. You're going to see some of the accessories they were released for iPhones. Their WikiPad here. They weren't the most ergonomic devices from what I could tell. Maybe some of you have used them and you like them. They don't look that good, especially not if you look at something like the Switch, which seem much more streamlined and ergonomic. But GameVice, while they did get rid of their older lawsuit from what everyone's seeing here back in October, they have now put in a complaint and a cease and desist. And now Nintendo is under investigation by the U.S. International Trade Commission. GameVice is requesting a cease and desist order against Nintendo, which could halt imports of the Nintendo Switch system into the U.S. Now, the U.S. International Trade Commission did announce this on their site, saying, the products at issue in the investigation are controller systems with parts that attach two sides of an electronic device, such as smartphone or tablet, and the parts fit into a user's hands and have gaming controls. And then from there, they just go into detail that they are going to be investigating Nintendo over this whole thing and see if it holds merit and if they need to start blocking Switch units from entering the United States. And that could be interesting, because if that does happen, then obviously it's going to be tough for Nintendo to sell the Switch in the US. There'll have to be a lot of legal stuff going on in the background to make that happen. Do I think it'll come to that? Probably not. No, honestly, they'll probably say there's not enough here to make that happen. And because they seem to have thrown out their case in October from what apparently law records have shown, it's odd that they would then turn around and do this unless they saw that case wasn't going to work out for them. Maybe it was too expensive to pursue. Who knows? But here we are now, where we're going to have to follow this investigation closely, because if it turns out bad for Nintendo, I'm not really sure what they do from there. There's probably some legal stuff they can do in the background, like I'm saying, but if there is a halt at all on Nintendo Switch systems, that's a bit of a problem. Again, it probably won't come to that, because Nintendo, I'm sure, will make sure they have the best legal defense for this, or just anything they can do to make it work out. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. But yeah, GameVice still around, still making Nintendo's life difficult over this system. Next up, let's talk about Retro Studios, because we've been waiting for their new game, whatever they're working on, just game in general, forever. It seems like it's been, 4 years now since we've really heard anything from them. We believe that they're working on some brand new game. We all believe that they're working on some new IP, although it could be an established IP that they are bringing to the new Switch system, obviously new generation, but nothing. We haven't heard a whisper as to what they're doing, at least kind of until now. We see a little bit of information coming out here with the cinematic and writer actually leaving Retro Studios, leading many to believe that, well, maybe he's done his job because Retro's ready to go. Now, as you're seeing here, John Farrell on Twitter just talked about how after 2 years, he's leaving now. It seems like it's amicable, so more than likely their work, their contracting position is all done. And hey, if that's the case, and you have someone like the cinematic designer and writer leaving, that probably means at least the game itself, plot-wise and structure and everything, is done. And in that case, you can start showing things. If it's been worked on for 4 years, I would hope so, obviously. Now, we don't know if they started working immediately, after they finished Tropical Freeze or whatnot, but I would like to think they did, and I would like to think their game is ready to go this year, because that would be a big thing for Nintendo to have in 2018, especially with all the hype and build-up. I think there's a chance it won't live up to the amount of hype because it's hyped to the moon right now. What's Retro working on? It's been this build-up for at least a year and a half to 2 years now where people are wondering this. So I hope what they show up with is really interesting. But with John Farrell leaving, it kind of sets the stage for Retro to, I guess, show us what they're working on at E3. And I'm crossing my fingers. I hope it's something amazing, something interesting, something different from everything else we've seen on Nintendo's platforms recently, right? I hope they really wanted to go off in a different direction, whether it's a very dark game. Who knows? Maybe they even work on a first-person shooter outside of something like what they did with Metroid Prime. That would be fun. There's not a lot of these kind of first-person shooters on the Switch, so that would be cool to see, but we'll have to wait. It seems like, though, they are set up for that E3 reveal. Next up, let's talk about some retro gaming news, specifically for retro collectors who don't mind spending a ton of money on, some reproduction cards. Kinda. I mean, they're technically licensed by Capcom, but if you recall that Street Fighter game that came out last year, it was $100. It was from I Am 8-Bit. And it was like this red cartridge. Remember, it had that fire warning that could light your system on fire or something. Well, they are coming back to the table with 2 more releases. You're going to see them here. One is Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo, and the other one is Mega Man 2. And these actually, they look awesome. Like they're $100 a piece. Both packages are limited to 8,500 copies each. Premium box, instruction booklet, some collectible retro art on the packaging, and it looks awesome. And apparently 8 copies randomly will be chosen to get a glow-in-the-dark blue cartridge instead. So I hope that's what you want. Otherwise, you have to put something in the tagline or something when you're ordering, notes. I don't want that glow-in-the-dark one. But this is cool, but expensive, right? Now, they're already starting to take pre-orders on this. You can go and get your pre-order in, but it's not cheap. So keep in mind, you guys, I like Mega Man. So when I saw this, I was a little like, oh, that's really cool. However, I know that these are repro cards. I know they're things I can build, but the fact that it comes with all the cool packaging, it's officially licensed, it makes me want to buy one, but we'll see how they come out, since apparently Street Fighter was supposed to light people's stuff on fire. It probably didn't, but it's kind of funny to see that warning. However, this is something I could get into with Mega Man. Next up, let's talk about a cult classic that is going to the Nintendo Switch. It did release a while ago in the arcades. It released on the Dreamcast. Then it made its Western debut on the GameCube, because I believe it was stuck in Japan on the Dreamcast. And I'm talking about Ikaruga. It is coming to the Nintendo Switch, done by Nicholas, who did some great work. I would love to see a physical copy. So far, it only appears to be digital at this point. $14.99, and it is showing up May 29th, so the end of this month. 27 days from now, you'll be able to pick up Ikaruga. This is really cool, by the way. I love this game, and what's great here is you can do both screen orientations. If you don't know, it's kind of a vertical shooter. You can actually turn the Switch, when it's in handheld mode, sideways, and you'll get that vertical aspect. They showed it off on Twitter, and I am so happy to see this game come over, because it is awesome. It's had Dreamcast, GameCube, PC on Steam, and Xbox 360 releases, and now it's coming to this generation with a Nintendo Switch. A great spot for it, and I think fans, or at least users on the Switch, will recognize this game, and I will think they become extremely excited for it. And I hope it sells well, because I absolutely love this game. I have it on the GameCube, I bought it on the 360, and I got it on Steam. I didn't get it on Dreamcast or anything, but I had it on those systems, and I will buy it again on the Switch just because I like the game. $14.99 is a steal for that game, absolutely. If you've never played it, check it out and then I guess decide if it's something for you. But I'll be picking it up, and honestly, we'll probably play it on the channel in a video so you can check it out there. But I'm definitely ready for this game. That's May 29th, $14.99 for Ikaruga. Next up, let's talk about a service not really talked about much, and that is PlayStation Now. Now, if you don't know what PlayStation Now is, it's a game streaming service that you can sign up for. You can use it on your PC, so you don't even need a PlayStation. You need a PlayStation controller, but you don't need a PlayStation, so you can play it right on any computer because it streams. As long as you have a stable internet connection, it's manageable. It's not going to work well for a fighting game like Street Fighter, but an RPG where input time or anything isn't a big deal, you can get away with it. It works. And what's interesting about this situation is in May, they are adding PS2 games. And this is the first time this service has seen PS2 games. Remember we made a big deal when PS4 games were going to the service? Well, yeah, PS2 games. In fact, they gave us a full list. And it's actually a pretty decent list of games. So check this out. They're going to add Ape Escape 2, Dark Cloud 2, Hot Shots Tennis, Limbo, Metal Slug 3, Mystery Chronicle One-Way Heroics, Sin Mora EX, Siren, and The Last Blade 2. And they're also going to have other titles including Blaze Blue Chrono Phantasma Extended. These are all games that are going to be going to PlayStation Now in May. And the addition of PlayStation 2 games is great because hopefully they will build on that, as RPGs, as I just said, work great on this service because you don't need to worry about that latency or anything. The image can get blurry if your internet has a hiccup or anything. And I still think the service is overpriced at $19.99 per month, $20 per month. That's crazy when something like Game Pass is $10 and that's all local. I think PlayStation Now has to be more competitive with its pricing, maybe $8.99 per month because you're streaming, even $9.99, at least it's half the price of what it is now. But adding things like PS2 games is a big win to have that in the library, and I hope they continue to expand on that. I mean, there's a lot of games from that PS2 library they could pull from, and while I wish they would add backwards compatibility for PS2 games where you put the disc in for the PS4, they haven't, they probably won't, and that's just kind of the way it is. But to see them add it to PlayStation Now, because maybe this is just the start of a ton of PS2 games coming over, it's exciting, I think, for people who are fans of that system. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether you are excited for Ikaruga like I am, or maybe you've bought it so many times you're kind of burned out on it. I understand that too. It's been around the block a couple times and we've seen it a few times. Also, let me know what you think about GameVice versus Nintendo. Do you think it's crazy? Because I look at that wiki pad, I look at the controllers on the sides of the iPhone and I just go, wow, really? That's what this is over? Because I don't know if we're better off with the wiki pad and the controllers on the sides of iPhones than the Switch. Honestly, I don't think it's going to come to Switches not being allowed to sell here, but it's just one more legal battle for Nintendo to fight, and that's got to be annoying on their part to see GameVice just continuously annoy them with these cease and desist, these patent infringements. It's just, I'm sure it's frustrating. Let me know what you guys think about everything and more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.